Now, coming up tonight on Virgin Media 1 at 9 o'clock is a groundbreaking new documentary called Inside the Hospice.
Over the next 3 nights, we'll be taking a look at the patients and staff at hospices around the country.
To tell us more is Derek at Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services, Wicklow. Hi, Derek.
Yes, team, the sun is shining down here on us in the glorious gardens of Our Lady's Hospice and Care Services here this morning. As you mentioned there, Tommy, that groundbreaking documentary Inside the Hospice kicking off tonight at 9. Eileen Nolan is with us. She is the Grounds and Gardening Manager, as well as Gay Davern. He is with the Hospice Volunteer Services. And Eileen, we start with you because you didn't look like this on Friday when I met you. You got the hair done at the weekend.
Yes, I did.
You scrub up nicely.
Thank you.
Anyway, you're here a long time, over 30 years.
30 years, 31 actually this August. Yeah, it's a very long time. 30 years don't be long going, but when you start building a garden for a hospice, it's very hard to walk away because the garden matures with you. So it's something that you really can't walk away from.
And I suppose for you, it has been a labour of love, hasn't it?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I started here at a young age and it's something that I'm really here for the patients. They really enjoy the garden. It's a big part of their life and their stay here. So it's up to me to make it work for them, that they can walk around easily and make it accessible, and taking all the sense, taking everything. It's not a garden with a name. It's not a sensory garden. It's not a particular type of garden. It's a garden that works for everybody, because we get young mums with kids as well, so they have to be able to run around, and so there's lots of aspects and things to think about when you're creating a hospice garden.
And when you first landed here, it was a big space. There are plenty of acres down here.
Yeah, there's about 23 acres. There was a lot of fields here when I started first. It was a working farm. And back in the 1800s, this rose garden was actually attached to the main house, so it was kind of a walled-in vegetable garden. And then the Sisters of Charity took it over, and they used to use it for their rosaries to walk around and things like that. And then they handed it over to the hospice, which was very generous of them. And it was a garden that was nice, but it needed a bit of upgrading and updating. So the patients could get around easily. So I widened the patio areas, I put in new paths, edging, put in a nice lavender walkway along here, and just make it nice, user-friendly, and just update it a bit, and so they could have social space, because it was quite wide open. And
we're talking about the space because I suppose the space is a very solemn space as well. For people to come out here and get a bit of respite, get a bit of a break away from everything that's going on. So it's a lovely silent space as well.
Oh yeah, it's a real break away from the clinical environment, and it's a little bit of a walk as well, so it's not directly outside your room, because there are little gardens outside the room, but this is a bit of a more of a escape away. So if anyone has a special birthday or they want to have a little afternoon tea, they can bring their family down and have a little soiree in the garden, and that's very special to them. And it can, I see them sitting there on their own, and they just take in the sky and the sun. Even on a wet day, they'll sit there, because there's a nice little undercover space, and they'll sit and look at the rain in their wheelchair, and they really love it.
The garden features tonight in episode 1, in fact, Prosecco parties. I believe there's a good few of them happening here.
Prosecco and the rest, yeah. Whatever goes, yeah. We aim to please, so we would set up like a space, maybe if a patient couldn't get as far as the rose garden, they'd sit in their little room outside, and there's a social space as well as a garden space outside their room, so they can, if they wish to, meet people. So we would there was a particular lady, Eileen, and she loved her little parties outside, and she always wanted her umbrella at her table and surrounded by plants, and maybe her husband would come in the afternoons, and they would sit there and have their few little drinks, yeah.
Which is lovely. And
which is so nice.
Your role, you said to me earlier on, is to make people happy, which I think is what you've achieved here in the garden. Gay volunteers, a big part of the hospice movement.
Yeah, it's a huge part of the hospice movement, and a valuable part of it, but a very well cared part of the hospice movement as well. We always get a great mention in the CEO's letter every month, so we really appreciate it for what we do. We work with patients. Some of us don't work with patients. We work at the fundraising end of it, and anything that we can to support the patient and support the hospice. That's why we're knocking around.
And I suppose this place wouldn't run, the volunteers really keep this place moving, don't they?
I suppose there's over 400 of us that volunteer within the hospice, and we do roles from tea trolleys, tea deliveries, driving patients home to and from, reading with patients, staying with patients, and then we have also a community companion programme.
Yeah, so what's involved in that then, Gay?
We go out and we look after the social needs of a patient, nothing to do with the medical. My own patient, we go for a walk, we bring the dog for a walk, and we go for a pint. And then I bring him home afterwards. It's his opportunity to get out to have a drink.
Yeah, so it's just a simple, basic every day.
Simple, basic every day. And it's reconnecting them after being ill for a while and then going back to the environment and giving them the confidence to get back out and have a bit of social life again.
Yeah, a bit of normality and a bit of respite as well.
Bit of normality.
If people want to get involved as volunteers, then where can they go?
Contact the hospice volunteer office here. We've two volunteer coordinators and they look after all of it there. There's plenty of opportunities to do, and the really good thing about being a volunteer here is it's as much time as you want to give yourself. No pressure on you to do anything you don't want to do. It's when you're comfortable with what you do and the time you want to give.
And without the volunteers, it wouldn't happen. Before we let you
Absolutely.
go, come over to me here, Eileen, because
Yeah,
your
sure.
back must be broke. You're planting sunflowers.
Yes, sunflowers here. This is for the sunflower event, obviously, which is happening soon. So please do donate and help us out, because none of this garden would happen without all your help. And we grow our own sunflowers, and we also sell our own seeds that we collected last year, only €2. So don't be afraid to come in the front gate just because it's the hospice, and we will let you go home again. You can come in and buy a plant and have a cup of coffee or visit our fabulous heritage centre. We've lots of facilities on site.
Thank you so much
Well,
for
thank you.
joining us, of course, guys. That documentary kicking off tonight over 3 nights, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, tonight at 9 inside the hospice. And I believe you have the details if people want to get involved, they want to donate, or they wish to volunteer. Back to you in the studio.
Yeah, thank you very much. Of course, a reminder, the brand new series Inside the Hospice airs tonight on Virgin Media 1 at 9 o'clock.
To help support your local hospice, please go to sunflowerdays.ie, and you can also visit the website by scanning the QR code that will be on screen. It's right there on screen. See that? If you go up, just take a picture, open your photo app, and it'll bring you to where you need to go.
Amazing to see the great work that's done there. I think we should just read out this message as well from Jess, who just sent us in a text. Great to see Derek at the hospice this morning. My mum was days away from dying in one of the country's biggest ICUs. She was in a shared ward and there was no privacy for us as a family. It was horrific. We ended up getting her into the hospice at Harold's Cross at the last minute, and she surprised us all by living a further 6 months.
Fabulous.
She died peacefully, and those 6 months were so special in the end for our whole family.
I'm so happy you had that time. And today would have been my dad's 80th birthday. He's gone since 21, and the hospice were so amazing. So do support them, and it's really emotional, by the way. You've seen it.
Yeah,
the Inside
it
the
is,
Hospice.
yeah.
It's a beautiful thing. So scan the code there. We'll be back with you in a few minutes on Ireland Day.
See you shortly.
Oh, I didn't mean to do that.